Hello everyone and welcome back to Isla Napali. In last episode we have done basically a little bit of gap filling. We started on doing a little bit of a shed, which is the entrance to the roundabout thing you can see in the background, and also we fixed a little bit about the hotel. But in today's episode we are going to fix even more stuff. So now enjoy the next episode of Isla Napali. Alright, so we are back in Isla Napali, and if you have followed the whole process of Isla Napali carefully in the past, you know that we are nearly done with the left part of the park. Isla Napali, and I'm just going a little bit back in time now to give you a little bit of a recap of what we've done, of what will follow, and where we do stand in the whole story of Isla Napali. While you can see that I'm going to improve the energy overpass things, which we used basically all over the park, and we're going to build them on way better spots in this episode, by the way. Now, as I have this out of the way, let me just talk about where we are at the moment. So Isla Napali was made as a park that is really aiming for hyperrealism. And I know hyperrealism is like a strong word. It's big, it's hefty, it's potentially also overpromising, and I know that, and this has always been somewhat of a little bit of a trigger and somewhat of a very ambitious vision for this park. Not saying that this is not not doable, but it takes a tremendous amount of time, which I also did in the beginning, so this is also not a surprise for me. However, at some point the game just gives us some restrictions we simply can't overcome, which also is not that big of a deal, since there are ways to overcome mainly everything. This is by just being creative, and being creative is one thing I haven't expected to be that big of a part of this series. I have expected to train myself to get a little bit better at realistic building, whilst lacking a little bit of creativity. This is also why I thought I will need also some other series to keep my mind and my creativity on a level that it has been before. I will talk about that a little bit later in the video. However, I just want to follow up on where we are in the meantime. So this was the idea about Isla Napali, and we started the left side of the park as the more modern aspect of the park. This is mainly because I wanted to go in with the Big Dipper coaster at the very beginning, and I wanted to build several things from newly released DLCs a few months ago. Which I think is just not natural, right? I didn't... to make this really enjoyable for you, the content, I really have to be enjoying myself in the video, or in the process of making the video. And naturally, that means that I have to be enjoying myself by playing the game. And I can't enjoy myself when I'm forcing myself to do something I'm not really wanting to do. This is not said that I mean the building style necessarily. I'm really, if I want to build a Big Dipper coaster, I don't really want to force myself to build a wooden coaster now just because it fits better into what we need to build at the right moment. So here's the little thing I wanted to get to after the first couple of minutes. The hyperrealism does end at the very point where I feel it's too forced for me to build it. So here and there we have some story gaps, and I'm just calling that a creative freedom here, that are necessary to make sure that I keep enjoying myself while being in Isla Napali. Isla Napali is really... this is my love project. It's my love brand. It's this kind of thing that really improved the channel tremendously. It's this thing that brought a lot of new people in, and I feel like this is really the main thing that many people do watch on this channel and look forward to. And I really want to keep on delivering this great content. And trust me, there is not a single reason to think about stopping this in the near future, or even in the more far future. I don't know. But I really wanted to point out that there will be, every now and then, some little gaps in the story that are necessary to make myself enjoying myself a bit more than I would do if I would just continue with the, let's say, hyper-realism story mode. So I decided for myself that I just take them little opportunities to break out from the hyperrealism aspect and just kind of rewrite the story so that does fit into what I really want to do at this given point in time. However, these things I'm going to do are always aimed at being as realistic as possible, given the limitations Planet Coaster offers, and also given the fact what we can do with the TMT items and what I can do in the time that I do have available to make these videos for you guys. So all in all, we've been creating a lot already in the park. So the more modern part of the park is nearly done. So we've filled in the left hand side of the island pretty much entirely, and the next couple of episodes, and I'm trying to aim for episode 60 to release Isla Napali part 1. For the German followers, you may have seen that I handed the park over to Brilliby. Is that even the English pronunciation? I have no idea. But he did a little tour of Isla Napali. I enjoyed watching that quite a bit. I wanted to see how people actually experience the park when given it to them, and I try to be as general as possible. I didn't really tell him too much. I just told him that the bunker area is work in progress, and basically the whole park is work in progress, but the left hand side is mainly done. So to really see what he's going to experience in the park, and I really felt like it offered me a whole new view of this park, and I felt, shit, there's a lot broken. There's a lot broken, which I really didn't see because we've been building in the park for months, and there were so many updates. At the end of this episode, we are going to struggle a bit more with the Big Dipper coaster, which you've seen in Wednesday's park guest flow episode. It still gives me a lot of struggle, but I feel in the end I basically fixed it to a certain degree. However, it really his video, Brilby's video, really gave me an insight on what I need to do to make the park run. So, and here's the point I wanted to get to now is Isla Napali is now in a state where I really have to fix those little things. So the next couple of episodes won't really feature new stuff. They will feature basically me doing those nitty little details that make the whole park. I will put down more energy supply. I will do more water refurbishment systems, whatever is needed, so pipe work. I will do a lot more guest flow optimization, because this also was a bit of a problem. I will do some little details within the shops. I will kind of see where I can optimize potentially old pieces that can be redone with TMT items, where those do fit better and maybe also kind of improve the frame rate. I also got some news, or not news, but I also got some messages in my Discord that I have been using maybe some simple curb pieces recently, maybe to a degree where it's not really improving the frame rate, let's put it that way. So maybe I'm also going to look into this and see if I can just redo some fences and some curb work, maybe with coasters again. So as I've done over here to the middle part, this railing, this iron railing fence, the lower one is done with the coaster. So maybe I'm going to do a bit more road markings and curbs and stuff with the coaster again, just to save some FPS. But these kind of things will happen in the next episodes. And then this is the big thing. I can't wait, guys, to get into the old park of the island. Now, as there have been a few updates recently and DLCs that brought in new rides, I couldn't really feature too many of them, which is mainly because when I started Isla Napali, and now the whole story kind of gets to where I wanted to get at the beginning, but the whole backstory was needed to explain this point. So the time where I was starting Isla Napali, I actually had the feeling that I was lacking too many classic rides to get started with it, and I was always constantly hoping that Frontier is bringing them into the game. So the decision back then was very strategic, to be completely honest with you. I had a plan. When I was on Hawaii and flying back to Europe, I was sitting in the plane and I couldn't sleep, and I was planning out Isla Napali back then, so none of you could know what I'm coming up with. But this was the time where I decided to leave all the rest of my stuff, Camel Kingdom and all this old stuff behind, Clean Canyon, all these things, which I still think are really nice projects, but they didn't give me what Isla Napali is now giving me. And I decided that I need to start something that is future-proof. And future-proof meant that all the new updates that are coming in the game can go into it. And for example, Camel Kingdom had that issue that it was too much looking into really themed areas, that kind of brought me into a position where I needed to somehow, I don't know, tie stuff into an area which didn't really belong there, just to test out the new stuff, which eventually led into the fact that I couldn't really use it because it was simply not possible to make a believable approach on using, for example, I don't know, the motion sim in the medieval area. I simply had no use for it because we had already the river rapids in there and stuff. So I kind of wanted to have something that is more believable, and I wanted to have this realistic park. And this is why Isla Napali is not really themed to some areas, because the story of it really doesn't demand this, because the island itself is already the given theme we use, and this is Hawaiian generic theme park theme, if you want. And I just kind of like how this really turned exactly the way I wanted it to. And now we are hitting a point where every new aspect of the game can be translated into Isla Napali. And to continue with the new area that is being created and being started with in a few weeks, or actually hopefully in 2 weeks, because I don't want to kind of move this towards the past, the future too much, because I'm really aiming for it, because I'm really wanting to start there. We finally have all these things we need. We have new flat rides. We have a lot new shops and kind of, even the World's Fair update came within the process of making Isla Napali. I mean, hey, we are in episode number 56. Oh, by the way, for those of you who wondered about the naming of the episodes and what happened to episode 52, 53, I don't know exactly which ones these were. Maybe I'm going to do something special with it, but in all honesty, I forgot them. I didn't know where I was. Here's a little side note. I always exchange my files, my Photoshop files with the thumbnail template, with my MacBook, with my computer, with my other computer, just because when I'm traveling, I mainly have my MacBook with me, so I can do some stuff. And when I'm at home, I'm using the normal computer. And in this process, I kind of forgot to sync the cloud, and I got stuck at I think 50 whatever, and I was like, okay, I have no idea where I am, and I was simply too lazy to really go into, because sometimes also my beginnings, my intro screen is displaying the wrong number, simply because I forget to change the number here in my Premiere Pro template. I've got so many templates, and I'm getting confused, and after. And again, in all honesty, after like 6 weeks of a break, and I wanted to get out the episode, I kind of just didn't see that, and that's why. So that's the whole explanation why that happened. However, since I can see already that we are working on the coaster in the background, we are getting to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this little backstory of where we are and what we do, and why I think it was a good decision to begin with the more modern part, and just kind of just benefit now from what has been added to Planet Coaster in the last couple of months, and just enjoy all the new content now, which I'm really looking forward to. But hey, this coaster, as you can see, I am changing a lot of things here, and for whatever reason, we are not able to use the spacing options in test mode. So whatever I set the leaving interval to, it won't affect the coaster in testing mode, and will only affect the coaster in the actual running with guests and stuff. So I was changing a lot of things here. I was changing the cars again, and the new Infinite Coaster train has a really crazy amount of how's that even called again? Not gravity. Oh gosh, I forgot the name. Let me just. We have the slider. How's the slider again called? God, Rudi, what's happening with your mind? friction, that's the word, friction. It has an awful friction, that's what it meant. And as you can see, I totally was missing the point that it didn't make it back into the station. So that was basically the reason why it was not making it through the whole process. But however, the leaving interval of the coaster was always forcing it to stop at the very top of the lift hill, and that caused the problems with the coaster. As I said, in the end, I have fixed it somewhat, but yeah, there's still a lot to do about this coaster especially. So hopefully going to fix this in the next couple of episodes too, and then I'm going to release all that stuff to the workshop and kind of try to bring all the assets you will need together in a very nice simple link, because I also noticed with Ruby that this is kind of complicated to bring that all in at once. However, I hope you enjoyed today's episode with me talking a bit more about the background, and now I also hope you have enjoyed the last Planet Zoo videos I made, and also NL 1800. So quite a bit of stuff going on. Make sure to check out the other videos as well. I'm giving more inside information there as well. And now have a great day and see you in the next one. Bye guys.